Welcome back to Metropole Television. We're still on the conversation this morning with PS Kamau on exactly what needs to take or what has happened so far under his tenure in that sector. All right, so let's talk about that Petroleum Stabilization Fund. What is the thinking behind it? Let's therefore talk about it. And why does it look as if it's a bittersweet?
Yeah, I don't know how it looks like it's a bittersweet, but maybe I can tell you the thought, yes, the thought process around it.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that is so interesting about us Kenyans is that we don't believe in savings. This is a savings. So if things go bad, you have an umbrella on a rainy day. This is the rainy day fund that you hear about.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no one likes to pay insurance. It's known.
Penetration is quite low.
Yeah, yes. But you have to do it. You have to yes. pay health insurance. You have to pay life insurance. If your house burns down, God help you if you've got insurance. If you don't, well, you know, that's how it is. So we have to start thinking through some of these instruments that we will need to cushion ourselves against adverse price movements.
Yes.
Yeah? So that was what the thinking was around this putting aside money in the petroleum development levy to cushion us against adverse price movements. It falls in a category called price risk management.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a known thing. For the tools are out there in the world, various tools to manage price so that you can go home and sleep well at night.
Yes.
They're there. So it's not that it's an unusual thing. And the thing is, you know, sometimes leadership is about making those hard decisions rather than saying, well, no one wants to pay insurance. And when things go bad, everyone asked you, why didn't you do it? You knew it was the right thing to do. So as government, we know it is the right thing to do, and we've done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the question around that is, it looks as if it's addressing one area, which is diesel. Question is, why not for every other fuel that is coming into the country?
For example, kerosene
yes.
is, we're not putting anything on kerosene.
Yes.
Yeah, because kerosene it's some wananchi fuel, so we don't want to put any burden on that.
Yes.
But like I told you earlier on, diesel affects everybody's life. Yeah. How many cars are in Kenya? How many passenger cars are in Kenya that take petrol?
Few.
1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Out of a population of 40 million people.
Yes. Yes.
But everybody uses diesel. Yeah.
Yes.
So you know, we really have to look at where the pinch points are.
Yes.
And they're there on diesel.
Yes.
Yeah, whether it's transport of people, public transport.
Yes.
Whether it's distribution, the fuel cost charge for power generation. It's everywhere. Yeah, it affects everybody equally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just before I ask you on exactly how the seller and the customer, I mean the user on the road is going to benefit from this, you've set it at a price point, $54 a barrel. Why are we talking of just 54? What if it goes higher?
No, we've set it at 5 shillings and 40 cents.
Yes.
And 40 cents.
That is, should the international prices really cross 54, isn't it? That's when the question comes in.
No, we haven't set it at that price.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just across the board.
Yeah, we're looking at maybe $50 a barrel or thereabouts,
yes.
but it may not be.
That's when it comes in place.
Yes.
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 But when do we expect this to be operationalized?
What do you mean?
When is it going to take effect?
When is it going to reach $50 a barrel?
No, just the petroleum levy.
It's there.
It's already there.
Yes.
Yes.
For the last, it came into effect 15th July.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let's look at it from the perspective of the seller.
Yes.
Yeah, the importer.
Yes.
How do they benefit?
Well, it's not for the seller.
Mm-hmm.
It's for you, wananchi. we are interested in the in the people who are of Kenya.
Yes.
We're not interested in what's going on outside the country.
Yes.
Yeah, we want you to benefit,
yes.
not the seller.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Let's therefore move on to another area that has been a big stress from the government as well. Just moving the economy away from the older sources, I would say traditional sources of energy, fuel and firewood and charcoal, to cleaner sources of energy.
Yeah.
Would you say that you have achieved success in this area, PS, from what you're saying this morning?
Of course not.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge, of course, is finding a way to mimic the way charcoal is bought. Charcoal and firewood are bought, which you buy daily. If you go out and you buy a gas cylinder, it's what, 2,300 shillings for 6 kilos?
Yes.
Then what are you going to eat for the rest of the month? You see what I'm saying?
I see that, yeah.
So you're earning a daily wage. You want to buy your food for that day. You want to buy your fuel for that day. So how do we make sure that you mimic the way, kerosene is more expensive than gas. Charcoal is definitely more expensive than kerosene.
Yes.
But the fact is that I can buy it even per meal. I can go and buy charcoal for the meal. I cook my breakfast with it, or I cook my lunch with it, or whatever it is, for that meal. The question is to use technology to mimic the way people buy those fuels to gas. Yeah.
So would you say that this has been a losing battle for you, and what we expect in that front?
Not at all. I think Kenya, if you see, Kenya is the first country in Africa to have a standard for a prepaid meter.
Yes.
Yes.
And this, you think, from where you're sitting, is going to unlock that area?
That's the game changer.
That's the game changer.
Yeah.
Could you put a time on what needs to happen?
No, it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
As it is ongoing. If it was not for the fact that we had COVID, because these meters come from manufactured in China.
Yes.
I think we would have had a much bigger penetration in this. I think in places like Mukuru, there are about 10,000 customers there already who are working on prepaid meters. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This conversation point, I want you to either confirm it or dispel it, that if Kenya finds a way of making it cheaper, more cheaper than it is, that probably would have more numbers move to that direction. Is that what we're going to see?
Yeah, it's possible. But like I said, most people are not going to go out and shell out even 2,000, forget about 2,300, even 1,500.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's move on to another issue that you spoke about, that now somebody would actually need answers from you directly. We've seen what has happened in Turkana when it comes to our oil exploration.
Yeah.
And so the conversation has always been, how does the government make sure that whatever project that they're coming up with benefit the local communities so that they don't become a source of conflict? What do we expect on that front, PS?
Well, the new act, obviously, the Petroleum Act, says that the community, first of all, the county gets 20% and the community get, I think it's 5%.
Yes.
So that's one way of doing it. The other thing, I think it's, we need to move away where the government is the be-all and end-all. I keep telling everyone, you remember, or maybe you're too young to remember, that yes. A couple of years ago, there was computer school around every corner. In fact, in this street of yours, I think there were maybe 4 or 5 of them.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
yes.
Now what's happened? Kenya's become the Silicon Savannah. Did the government own any of those schools?
No.
There you go. So I think we also have to have foresight and see, well, this is where the world is going. We as the local community, having this resource, are going to go out and train in oil and gas, or in mining, or whatever it is, because those are the extractive industry. We're going to put our money down and say, look, let's start up schools for artisans. Let's set up schools for engineers. Let's put aside some of our money so that we can take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes.
Because the amount of money you're going to get from the extractives, once you've divided it up to every person living there, it's not going to be much. And it's probably not going to get to you, Simba. So you have to do something for yourself. They say fortune favors the prepared mind. So you have to be prepared
yes.
to what's coming. And it's not been a secret. We discovered this oil in 2012. We're now 2020. So really, by now, something should have started to happen.
Pretty much. So from a Turkana perspective, what is happening on the ground? Because yes, on paper, it looks as if we know exactly what should happen, but then the reports that you get from the ground are totally different.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened on the ground. The local communities, because the government has been insisting that the oil companies use local people, the contracts that have been given to the people of Turkana to date in terms of road construction, buildings, schools, hospitals, dormitories, supply of foodstuffs, 2.3 billion shillings so far. This is what the money that has gone there in terms of tenders to the people of Turkana, which I think is nothing to sneeze upon.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think these are the things that have happened there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's move on to another area which is a bit of a concern, because there's this trend of how we've seen bigger government state departments that used to flourish back then pretty much went and died at some point. And so the questions are they going to come back? Because they were one of the potential and very good job creation areas. Let's talk about our chances at coming back to refining and oil processing in the country.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
are we now?
Well, like I said, you know, our biggest opportunity is offshore Kenya. You know, people have been talking about maybe production of 500,000-600,000 barrels per day. Now, if you have that kind of a production, then it makes sense to build a refinery in Lamu for 400,000 barrels a day or 600,000 barrels a day, because then you're in the realm of the, you know, economy of scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would happen if somebody ask you, why are we not going back to reviving what we have even on a smaller scale as we get ready for a bigger chance?
So, Simba, you asked me initially why we are paying 5 shillings. So if we revive the refinery, you will have to increase your price by 3 shillings per litre, or maybe more, because we would have to then, as it is now, first of all, 3 shillings definitely will be the increase in your oil price. That's
Yes.
the first thing.
Yes.
Then we would need to spend maybe another $1.5 billion to put in the efficiencies that we would need to revive this refinery. Let's add another 2 shillings and 50 cents to your oil price to fund that. Yeah. So if we were to do that, again, yes, right now people are up in arms, or let's refine, but when you present the bill to them, they say, oh, no, maybe let's think about this. It's the whole thing. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So there you go.
When somebody take you back, Mr. P.S., and tell you, but they used to make economic sense back then, but they used to operate, what has changed?
It didn't used to make economic sense. That's why it was a requirement by law that all the oil companies process at least 30% of their local requirements of the refinery. If it made sense, there would be no need for law. These are commercial entities. They would be refining 100% of their requirements. Yeah, yes.
All right, as we clear this conversation this morning, on a personal level, P.S., how would you rate yourself in this State Department?
As compared to who?
I don't want to compare you to anybody. Just talk to me about what you feel. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done, yes. And we've talked about the advancements and the milestones that you have seen so far. So on a personal level, how do you feel about yourself? I mean, I want you to be honest about it. Yes.
Well, I think we've done quite a good job.
A good job.
Yeah.
Good job would amount, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good enough.
This therefore takes me to my next question.
Yes.
Since you quite a bit about the job that you've done so far in that department, anything that we expect to see that is not in public domain right now?
I think we tried to run quite an open shop because don't forget, we are really in the policy makers.
Yes.
We're not really involved in the business. So our stakeholders are you. And the great thing about it affects everybody's life. You have an opinion on, and your viewers have an opinion on most things because it affects them. It affects the oil companies. It tends to be a very open book, in the way we do our things. So there's nothing that's not in the public domain. It's pretty much out there. Yeah.
P.S. Kamau, thank you very much for joining us this morning on Metropole Television.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any questions that you may have, yes, we have answered them. And if anything extra that is coming through, 2146, that's your SMS line at Metropole TVKE across your social media platforms. This morning, as you do know, we were chatting with Honorable Andrew Kamau. He's the Principal Secretary, State Department of Petroleum. We've gone through a couple of those, and according to him, it's a good job. Hopefully, you share the same sentiment. And that's exactly how we end our show this morning.